Hello, thank you for joining me on my live stream. Really appreciate it. So nice to see so many of you already in the comments waiting for this to start, which is really nice. So we are just going to do a sort of general cruise Q&A today. If you have any cruise related questions, ships, destinations, food, entertainment, anything like that, just let me know and I will do my best to answer as many as I can. If you want to ask about, what it's like to be on YouTube, anything about my business, please feel free to. I always do my best to just answer as many as I can. If you do have a question and you can start it with question in capital letters, that just helps me pick out what is a question and what is everyone else just chatting. Lots of good mornings in here. Good morning. If it's morning where you are, good afternoon, good evening. We have people in all different time zones, which is very, very cool. Very cool. Yes, my goodness. Okay, so we have questions already coming in, so I'm going to jump straight into those if that works for you. Here is a question from David who says, any tips on when is the best time to book a cruise, as it seems they are all getting very expensive? So I booked a cruise this week. I booked a river cruise and I booked it for over a year in advance, which for me is quite a long time. Normally I'm more on the last minute kind of side, but if you can book a cruise 2 or 3 years in advance, that's probably going to be the cheapest that cruise is ever going to be. I've never really seen a cruise price come down from the launch price, unless it's something strange like maybe a new cruise line where they think they're going to get more interest than they do. But generally, that's about it. So if you can 2 or 3 years in advance, most people can't do that. And that's why they're cheaper. Generally, whatever is the most awkward cruise is the best. If you can start and end in the different places rather than the same one, that's harder for everyone, so less people want to do it. If you want to wait and do it last minute, 2 to 3 months before, probably a sweet spot, because if you think about it, if you book a cruise 2 years in advance, you normally put down a deposit like £100, £200, and then you'll have to pay the remaining balance 3 months before, 2 months before. So obviously not everyone does that, and they do know at that point how many people they have for sure. So they suddenly think, oh, we've got 100 cabins left, let's sell these cabins. That said, though, there's plenty of cruises that are completely sold out 3 months before. So it is a risk. Everything is a risk. Like the perk of just booking when you want to is you get what you want. You might pay more than someone who booked it 2 years ago, but you would never have booked it 2 years ago. So once you've booked, it is what it is. I love this question that says, question, how do I ask a question? Says Adam. Adam, you've done the perfect question framework. It couldn't be better. And it stands out to me. Rich says, how many Rolos got sold? So this is First Mate Rolo, who we have here. We sold this for a charity, the charity that rescued my dog Rolo, the same way as we have done with Captain Hudson. We sold a little over 1,400 and they're being made now. So they should be arriving, I think, early October. It's normally earlier than the date that it says, but they're being made right now. So that's very exciting, very exciting. David says, hi, Emma, it's tea time. It is tea time. Yes, I have my dinner normally after these live streams. Thank you so much to the moderators who are in here looking after the chat. I really appreciate it. I would not be doing live streams without you. Yes, for sure. All right, so many good questions. It's hard to pick sometimes. You should take a Nile cruise to Egypt. Yeah, maybe. There's so many places in the world I want to go. It's not top of my to-do list, to be honest, of all the places to go in the world. But it's, I'll go anywhere at least once. I'll try. Have you been on an ambassador cruise? And if not, would you? So yes and no. Yes and no. Technically yes, but also probably technically no, depending on who asks. So I tried my best. I booked an ambassador cruise. I paid for the ambassador cruise. I got my cruise card on my ambassador cruise, and I unpacked in my ambassador cabin. Does that count? The cruise was cancelled on the first day and I had to go home. But yes. Ian's in here. Hi, Ian. Nice to see you. Nice to see so many names that I recognize. We've been doing these live streams for a really long time now. I know now when I get certain questions, I know that other people know the answers, if that makes sense. It's quite funny. Question from Kerry, who says, I've been asked how many cruises you've been on now. I've been on 78 cruises now, if we count including that ambassador one that was cancelled, if we count every, river cruise conference, every new ship launch, everything like that, which is unbelievably many. When I started my website, I've been on 9 cruises. So I started my website in 2016. I started cruising when I was 11. So between that time, I took less than one a year, kind of a normal amount of cruises, and then ramped up a lot. 2019, I think, was the most cruises I've ever taken. It was a lot of short press cruises. Obviously, 2020, I took 0. My plan in 2020 was I was still working my normal 9 to 5 day job. So my plan was I'm going to work all of January, February, March without taking a day off and save up my holiday and then have a great summer going on cruises. But all that happened was I worked solidly the first 3 months and then everything shut down. So if I knew, I would have done more cruises at that point. But, none in 2020, more in 2021. And then I do a bit less now, actually, because I get very excited just by I get invited to something and I want to go, and then something's happening in Southampton and something's happening in London. But yeah, I do have to say no to things sometimes. Would you recommend these Celebrity Edge class ships? They look so good, says Sam. Yes, 100% yes. I love those ships. I took a cruise on Celebrity Edge with my mum. The buffet is the best buffet ever. The food is just great. And yeah, the ships, I think they're pretty cool. I would do it for sure, definitely. I wouldn't get the cabin that we had, though. We had the infinite balcony cabin, which I would say is ocean view cabin that opens. I would go like that. But yeah. What prompted you to start taking so many cruises? So I started a website in 2016. I took a Cunard cruise. That was my main reason that I started my website. Before that, I'd only cruised with MSC and I cruised with Norwegian. Both of them are very casual cruise lines, no dress codes, no real formal nights. I just thought that's what cruising was. And then I took a cruise with Cunard and I sat there and I thought, what on earth is this? This is Cunard. Very traditional afternoon tea, ballroom dancing, dress codes, ship wide after 6 p.m. And I was like, what is this? So I started my website in 2016. I think I did 2 cruises that year, maybe 2 that year. And then it sort of stayed like that until I didn't plan to make this into a business at all, but by sort of 2019, I was getting invited to come to river cruise conferences and other I was getting sort of involved in the industry, so I had more things like that. And then 2020 came home to work for 2 weeks from my day job and left that job in 2021. So I actually never went back to the office. They sold the office, it's flats now. So where I used to work, someone is living, which is really, really strange. Do you think Disney cruises are worth the price? If I have 2 people here, for one person, yes. For one person, no. It just depends how much does this person like Disney. That's it, really. Oh, I like this one. Point. Please stop wearing the t-shirt costing me a fortune. Nice. This is just ordered for our first Royal Caribbean cruise in October. Amazing. That sounds good. Yeah, Anna says, taking my first Cunard cruise on Sunday should be interesting. It is interesting. It's good. Plenty of people love Cunard cruises. It was just so different from what I was used to. And it was kind of like all these things you hear about cruising. It's very different because in the UK, if I speak to someone who's never been on a cruise, they think it's formal. They think it's like Titanic, to be honest. And if I speak to someone in America about cruising, they think it's like a carnival cruise, Caribbean spring break. And they both exist, but it's everything in between. So I was just unprepared. And I just thought, if I had read this own post that I wrote, 7 things you should know before going on a Cunard cruise. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, Alison says, when are the new Hudson books being released? My girls are dying for them. One is very nearly done. The one that's very nearly done is not a storybook. It's slightly different. I sort of think of it as the type of book that you pick up when you have a spare, I'm not going to say on the toilet, but when you have a spare 1 minute and you want to read a little bit. We have one like that that's coming out. And then I think we have one other one that is coming this year. That one's not quite done yet, but hopefully it'll get done this year. So thank you so much. I'm so glad that you like them. It's so fun. So fun. Just a little fun, it's kind of like my business that I have. And then this is a fun little side hobby, which is cool. Adam says, sorry about stealing your do not disturb sign. I wanted it. Yeah, I don't think you did, Adam, but someone did. Someone did. So if you haven't seen my last YouTube video, check that out. That is the Morella Cruise cabin video, the one that I stayed in with my mum, and we did have our do not disturb sign going missing, which is kind of interesting because I always compliment cruise lines if they have the button inside rather than the cards that go outside. And I have said in every single review ever that that is good because people can't take it or change it. But I've never considered, it's never happened, but it did happen. But I made my own one. I just made a piece of paper the right size, put it in the door, and then it turned into a real one when the cabin steward saw it. So it was all good, no problem. Fraser's in here. Hey, Fraser, it is nice to see you. Fraser is one of my favorite people. I was going to say in the cruise world, but let's just expand that to the whole world. So hello, Fraser. It was so nice to see Fraser and other people when I did a little day visit on the new Virgin Voyages cruise ship, which was very exciting. Can you cancel an excursion without penalty if you decide you would rather stay on the ship? So normally it is within, I would say 40 hours, 48 hours is the most normal amount. So if you normally cancel an excursion with 48 hours notice, you get a full refund. If you don't, then you're not going to get a refund. So that's the penalty. It's not like a penalty. You're not going to get like a fine or anything if you don't go, but you would just lose out on the money that you've paid, which I think makes sense because, they have to work out how many buses they have and all kinds of things. Jamie says, speaking of your Morella video, there wasn't any curtains in your cabin. Looks like you just had a blind. Yeah, we had a blind, but it was kind of like a folding blind and it was inside the window. Yeah, it was a blackout blind. You definitely didn't need any other curtains or anything like that. Definitely not. How long does it take from actual cruise to the video, says Lucas? Well, it depends on a lot of things. If I've recorded the video on the ship, it's going to be a lot faster. So I do try, depending on the cruise, of course. I can't always. It takes me a long time to script the videos, it takes a long time to record them. But if, say, for example, that Morella one, I wrote that, while mum was having a nap, I would write the script and I kicked her out the room so that I could record the video. So when I came home, it was ready to edit. My brother edits my videos for me now. And that kind of video, it takes couple of weeks to edit a video like that. So yeah, I'd say between 2 to 3 weeks to edit a video like that. To write the script takes me a couple of days, I would say, of playing around with it. Obviously, I don't just sit and write for 2 days, but like normally I do it in the evenings. I put on background music from TV shows or films and I go back and forward and keep reading it out loud to make sure that it sort of flows and stuff like that. Do you find yourself focused on filming and not enjoying yourself? It always looks like fun than work to me. Yeah, I think, do keep in mind, I go on a 7-night cruise and what you see on YouTube is like 3 days because I condense everything down together, because the other days, it's not very fun if it's like, oh, I woke up and I wrote on my laptop for 4 hours, like super boring. So I do condense things down. But the things that I'm going to, I only film things in 5-second clips at a time. It's not like I'm seeing the whole thing through my phone. I'm not carrying extra camera equipment. I just film on my phone. So I think compared to like some other people have a lot more effort that goes into the actual filming part, mine is my phone. So yeah. Do you have your script almost written by the time you get off the ship? So on the Morella one, I had the cabin one recorded, and then the other one, I just had a list of notes for what happened and what day, and I have I don't know, a list this long, but it ends up being, the script for my full Morella video is 14 pages long. And the first 2 paragraphs take as long as the next 6 pages. I swear, it's the hardest part. Oh, Andy says, Fred Olsen charged us £10 to hand back our excursion ticket at the start of our cruise last month, 4 days before. Yeah, they all have their different rules, of course. 10 is not too bad, but yeah. What kind of phone do you film on, Apple or Android? So I'm on an iPhone at the minute. I've been iPhone for the last 5 years. I did have other phones and then iPhone again. I'm kind of losing the love for the iPhone. I've got to be honest. After all this time, the lenses keep flicking. I'm just having more problems. But I don't know. For me, it's like it works. I know it. I don't think when my business relies on this one thing that I should try and change it. It's okay. But hey. Question. These 2 questions kind of go together. Have you ever done a world cruise, 108 days? And what is the longest cruise that you've been on? So longest I've done is 14 days, 2 weeks. So definitely not 108 days. It would not work for me right now. Totally get why people do it, but for me right now, I do have a video. It's called "Why I Wouldn't Take a World Cruise" or something similar to that. If you want to check that out, but yeah, I think if I was going to go round the world on a cruise, I wouldn't book a world cruise. I would book 15 different cruises for a week, probably. Mm-mm-mm. Why are you losing the love of the iPhone? The upgrade is coming. Please convince me to leave the iPhone. There's just a few things. Like, I don't know if anyone is filming on an iPhone a lot, but it does change lens quite often, like midway through a clip, which is really annoying. And yeah, it's just a few tiny little things. But there's nothing that's quite as nice to use that I've ever found as an iPhone. There's no other thing that I just send a text on that I like as much as an iPhone. So, but yeah, there's just little things that are slightly annoying to me. Not, you know, I film a lot more than the average person. Obviously, fill up my phone an awful lot. If you turned up as at a formal dinner in shorts and a t-shirt, what would they do? Would they stop you taking a seat? It depends on the cruise line. If you're on a Cunard cruise, they won't let you into the restaurant. They'll tell you to go and get changed if you want to come in. If you're on an MSC cruise, come in. Like, that's fine. On a lot of cruise lines, the formal nights are suggestions for dress codes, and it's like, if you want to, this is the night to dress up. It's like that on Morella, it's like that on MSC. But some cruise lines like Cunard, P&O, they take it quite seriously. Like, if they have told you to have a jacket, you need a jacket on those cruise lines. So yeah. What is your opinion on MSC? I have a 22-day transatlantic cruise in October. So I've cruised quite a lot with MSC. I've cruised on Meraviglia a couple of times, Virtuosa. I cruised on World Europa. I cruised on Euribia, and I cruised on Sea View in the Caribbean. So I've done quite a lot of MSC cruises. I think they're good fun. I totally get why not everyone likes them. But I've taken friends on MSC cruises, and some have been their first cruise, and they've had a great time. So yes, a lot of people don't like how there's so many different languages. It can be quite chaotic because, they have people getting on different days. So you might have been on 2 days and then they're doing another embarkation. And I've had friends who have gone to the embarkation muster drill again, and you don't need to. So it can be a bit confusing like that. But I think it's good fun. I think some of their ships are really cool, and they're so cheap. Like, it's hard to argue. It's cheaper than staying in any sort of hotel on land. And every family member and friends that I've taken have really liked it. We took a family member on an MSC cruise. They've passed away since then, but it was a very cheap cruise, and we wouldn't have been able to do that if that didn't exist. And she had such a great time. So yeah, I think sometimes people know too much, and it stops them from enjoying things because they'll be like, well, on Celebrity this, well, on Princess that. Yes, but like, you're here now. Just enjoy this thing, I think. Have you cruised on Norwegian Epic? I did in 2015. I'm pretty sure it was 2015, so it was a long time ago. But I enjoyed it. I shared that cabin with my brother. I know it's one where people don't like the bathroom situation, but it was fine for us. Like, I don't remember ever being a problem. Do they have pharmacies on board cruise ships, says Pamela? Good question. So kind of. They have like a small section in the shop where they'll have, if you need painkillers or you need like shampoo, like that kind of stuff, they'll have that in the shop. And then they do have like a proper medical center on board if you need proper medicine, like if you, I don't know what you need, but you will pay to go there though. And if you do want medicine in the shop, you will pay like 4 times as much as you ever would on land for it. So the only thing I buy, I mean, I go with a massive toiletry bag full of medicines for every medical problem I've ever had or have never had but could have. The only thing I buy is the American Travel Sickness Bonine. Is that how you say it? Because I can't buy it at home. That's the only thing I buy on board. Yes, MSC is the world's #1 shipping cargo company. They can afford to subsidize their cruise division. No major cruise line has that advantage. Yes, very true. I do remember they started cruising again in the pandemic after like 2 or 3 months, whereas the rest of us, it was more than a year that the industry was shut down for. And yeah, that's why they could do it, I guess, because they were doing all right regardless. Come cruise Australia. I would love to. Yeah, I'd love to for sure. Yeah, taking an MSC cruise. Under £1,000 for me and my wife. Yeah, exactly. It's hard to argue. That one I took our family member on, for each person, it was £330 for the week, which it was a long time ago, but still, like, that's the same price as a travel lodge on land. If you were suddenly put in charge of designing a brand new cruise line from scratch, what one thing would you absolutely change about the way cruising today works? There's certain things I'll just get rid of completely. For me, I mean, I know I know it wouldn't work for most people, but for me, I mean, just I was going to say delete the casino, which shows how long I've been on. Just scrap the casino, I would say. Don't bother with an art auction. Just get rid of it, that for me. You can get rid of the spa, really, for me as well. I don't really like that. All gratuities have to be included. I'm not messing around with that. The price is the price. Include soft drinks. Include Wi-Fi. That'll be really good. That part is kind of just describing Virgin Voyages, but yeah, I think that's what I would do. Lloyd says, doesn't MSC have a lot of upselling though? Yes, but you don't have to buy any of those things. You know, obviously they're trying to sell you specialty meals. They're trying to sell you drinks packages. You don't have to buy it though. Yeah, you have to buy it. Oh, what is the one thing you can't wait to add to the cruise globe? There are so many things. So many things. I think cruise countdowns is one I'm really wanting, future cruises, and that's going to be pretty soon, I think. Yeah, that would be cool. But thank you very much. Yeah, delete the casino for me. Yes. I mean, it's kind of good when you go on a cruise ship and everyone else is in a place that you don't like, right? Because otherwise it would be everyone is where I want to be. But for me personally, I don't need any of that stuff. But if it keeps people, you know, away from wherever I am. Roger says $10 bet per cruise. Yeah, that's what I do. I do a $10 bet per pretty much every cruise. I did win $60, I think, recently. Yeah, 60 on Norwegian Star. That was very good. Yeah. Have you seen someone actually buy something at an art auction? Yes. Yeah, I have. I have seen people buy it. I've known people, you know, I have friends who have art from cruise ships in their homes. Just not something I'm ever interested in. All of my art is, you know, my own company, Cruise Maps. I'm counting down until I can start counting down in the app. Yes, that is exactly what I'm doing. So the cruise globe at the moment is live. It's live cruise ship data and it is historical data. So you can see all the cruises you've taken, you can replay them, you can see the little loops and you can get your stats and you can see, you know, in 3D where they are now, but it doesn't do future yet. So future is what I'm looking forward to. Would you recommend a US-based cruise best suited for younger kids? So for younger kids, I think there's no cruise line quite like Royal Caribbean for younger kids. If you can do Royal Caribbean, do Royal Caribbean. If not, I mean, a lot of the other cruise lines, even if they don't have things like water slides on the top deck and they don't have all of those things that look like they're for kids, I know people who have young kids who've cruised with, you know, Princess or Celebrity, Cunard even, and they really liked it. So yeah, but as far as sort of kids go, I think Royal Caribbean they just have it. MSC is good for kids too. You know, they get kids to play with Lego because they all speak different languages, which is cute. Would you do a Disney cruise if price wasn't an issue? I mean, I wouldn't pick it for myself if I didn't run this business. If I was still doing this and price was no issue, then yes. If not, I mean, I have not been to Disneyland, Disney World. So, but yeah, I'm very curious about Disney. I get so many questions about Disney. So for this, I think it'd be so good to show it off and to say this is who it is for. But yeah, price is an issue. Price is an issue. Do you ever go water skiing behind the ship? I do not, Adam. There are some cruise ships, not where you can go water skiing, but there are some cruise ships where they will have like an aqua, you know, thing you can jump off and like trampolines, like water trampolines and stuff. Tends to be on yachts, things like that, rather than cruise ships. But still, pretty cool. David's in here from Life in Norway. Nice to see you. Nice to see you. Can retrofitted older ships still give a good cruising experience? Says Lloyd. Yes, I think so. I think they're some of the best. I don't know. I get comments sometimes, like on the Morella one, saying, I think you have a soft spot for cruise ships of like the late 90s. And I think it is true. If you think about your cruise, though, the things that you touch and the things you see they're not going to be that old normally. So as long as things aren't worn, then I'm more than happy. And I do like I feel like they just have more space per person on the older cruise ships, and they're just quite solidly good. You know, if you look at the most recent Morella cabin, like it has tons of storage because I guess people that ship was originally a celebrity ship. I guess they had more formal nights and stuff in the 90s. I don't know. People have more stuff then. I don't know. But I do like them a lot. And some cruise ships will do a refit where they just change the bedding, and some will do a refit where they rip out everything. So it depends. It depends. What smaller ships are good, even though you like the new and large best? Most cruise ships still have some smaller ships in their fleets. You know, if you look at something like Celebrity, I did a cruise on Celebrity Infinity. That was really nice. I've done some of the older Princess cruise ships. My British Isles was on Emerald Princess. That was lovely. Most cruise lines still have them. If you look, you know, Norwegian, I've done Norwegian Sun. That's a small one. I was on Norwegian Star. She's small-ish. Yeah, Morella and Ambassador. Yeah, the cruise lines that have second-hand cruise ships, they tend to be the small ones. For now, you know, if you look at I love looking at the videos that are the promotional videos from the late 90s or the 2000s, and it's the fastest, biggest, the most amazing cruise ship. And if you look at it now, it's tiny. It's tiny. Yeah, P&O Aurora was lovely. Yeah, she was. She was a really cute ship. Quite a lot of broken toilets on that ship was my main criticism in the public areas. But that is a thing that does happen on old ships sometimes. Yeah, it does seem to be going that way, as in there are still small ships being built, but the ones that are being built now, they are more the luxury brands, right? So it's going to cost more to go on a smaller ship. Yeah, Norwegian Star is 92,000 tons, so not too small. Not too small, but still pretty small. Still pretty small. Yeah. Yeah, lots of people love the small ships. I do as well, but I just think for the cruise lines, they make more money the bigger the ship. To an extent. If you think about it. Northern Lights, when's the best time and cruise line? So you have some options. You can either do something like a Hurtigruten cruise, like a Norwegian ferry, or you can do some mainstream cruise lines. That's what I did. I did one with Fred Olsen. We went in March and we saw the Northern Lights twice. But if you want the Northern Lights, check out my friend David, who's in the comments. His channel is called Life in Norway, and he's all about the Northern Lights and all about the life in Norway. So he knows far more than me. But he was on that cruise with me. He lectures on the ships. Very brave. Very, very brave. It scares me. I always get pictures from David, who says, oh. And my friend Chris Frame in Australia, and he'll send me a picture from, you know, the theatre full of people and just about to do a talk. Oh, not for me, but I'm glad other people like it because I like to go to the talks, so that's good. What is the biggest drawback of taking a cruise on one of the largest ships? If it's a well-organized ship, you're not going to get more queues or anything like that. I guess the downside is you normally have to book things like theatre shows and stuff on bigger ships. And also just don't underestimate the time it takes to get places, to walk places. Because I took a cruise with Costa Smeralda, quite a big cruise ship, with my parents, me and my brother. And we were in cabins, you know, we were in a little cabin somewhere and they were in an inside cabin somewhere. And to walk between the two, it took like 12 minutes. I swear. I don't know if that if that was the actual time, but it felt like it. Like we'd have to set off a long time to walk all the way along the ship and down however many things of stairs. Have you ever lectured on a cruise ship? Absolutely not. That is, public speaking is not my thing. Can think of, there's very few things I would like to do less. I'd prefer to just sit alone in a room for 12 hours than do a 10-minute talk, for sure. Yeah, larger ships can only do big ports. That is a really good one. Thank you to my dad for that. Yeah. One of the benefits of small ships is you do get to go places that you don't get to go to on the big ships. You might have to tender on the big ships too. And if you're on a ship that has 4,000 guests, 5,000 guests, and you're tendering, sometimes you're going to have to wait quite a long time for a tender. So, yeah. Oh, David says, I think Emma would be great talking on ships. You can't see the audience because of the light, so it's just like YouTube. Fair enough. If I can't see anyone, fair enough. Oh, Sam says, do larger ships handle the sea better? I was on Ambassador, 40 tons, adorable, and was tossed around like a leaf. I think that's more to do with the age than the size, to be honest. I think old ships handle it worse than newer ships. But I've been on some big ships and been tossed around like a leaf, and I've been on some small ships that have been good. So yeah, I don't think it's that simple. I think it's a combination of, you know, different things. You've done head shaving lectures. Yes, I suppose so. That is the last time I was on a cruise ship stage. For those of you who never saw that, that was a long time ago. That was pre-pandemic. I was on a Morella cruise. So I let the captain shave my hair off because why not? I wonder if there's anyone who was in that audience who just is maybe found me on YouTube since. That would be quite funny. Yeah, David says about the Aurora guarantee. Yeah, some cruise lines do that. Hertogruppen do that, I think. But even the slightest glimpse at 4 a.m. and you can't see it, like it still counts. They're not, it's not that you have seen it. Has it been recorded as being out at some point? And even out, sometimes you can only see it with your phone camera. You can't see it with your eyes. So, yeah, is what it is. Sometimes bouncy depending on the captain. I'm not sure we can blame the captain. I don't know. Maybe it's to do with things like the speed, if they're going fast to get somewhere or slow. Either way, it needs to be in the middle. How is Captain Hudson? Any new charities? Captain Hudson is good. The real Hudson hasn't joined me, even though I do have a pack of the Dreamies here. But he's just not around. So, probably asleep somewhere. But yeah, so we did 5 versions of this guy. Hudson, and we have just launched the Rolo version, who is a dog. So the new charity is a charity that rescued my dog. He's a street dog. He's from Romania, and they, make sure that they're new to the street dogs, so that they're sort of sorting out the street dog problem, and they feed all the puppies. And it's very expensive. So yeah, we'll be making sure that they live outside. So making sure that they have enough hay for winter and vet bills and all that stuff. What effect does the cruise director have on a cruise, says David? Can have a big effect or can have no effect at all. I don't know. Maybe I don't go to all the events where the cruise directors are. I mostly see them in the theater, but it doesn't make a big difference to me, really, the cruise director. Sometimes there's really particularly good ones, and I think, oh, that's a really good cruise director. That was really nice. But if they're not there, I probably wouldn't miss it, if that makes sense. But they're doing so many different things. They're basically in charge of all the entertainment team. So, yeah, I can't even imagine. That is a very hard job. Very impressed by anyone who can do that because they're working all the time. They're always on call. They're always recording TV shows for the little TV, and then they have to go to the show, and then they have to go to the show again, and then they have to be at the party, and then everything else. They do all the planning of the events. Yeah, if it's like a sea day or something like that, they have to change all of the schedules and make sure everyone else is there. This comment says sounds like a cushy job. It is not. Yeah, nah, very, very hard job. Makes or breaks the cruise on a long cruise. Yeah, I think if you have a long cruise, you're probably more likely to get to know them. But yeah. Jamie says, what is the hardest job? I think the hardest job is probably something completely behind the scenes that we don't see. Someone who works in the kitchens, who does it for 9 months every single day. I think that would be very, very hard. Very hard. Have you done Chef's Table? Was it a good experience? I think I did one once on Princess. Did me and my dad do that? Maybe. Yeah, I think so. The chefs weren't there though. It was just a very fancy table with a big curtain. But yeah. Think huge cruise ships need twins as cruise directors. Yes. They do have something kind of different, I think, on some cruise lines, like Virgin Voyages. They don't have a cruise director. They have different ones who are directing different things. So yeah. Chef's Table on Royal is amazing. I don't think it's my kind of thing, to be honest. I mean, convince me otherwise, but I'm not particularly... I don't think I would describe myself as a foodie, particularly. Like, I cannot tell that this is the wrong type of sugar. Like, I have no idea. Imagine if Chef's Table was a crew mess. I'd be far more likely to go then. That would be really cool. I'd love that. I'd love that. Every ship needs a dog. Yeah, I mean, Royal Caribbean have one, don't they now? Probably every cruise does have a dog on it because they do have guide dogs and different things. So probably, yeah. Lots of votes for the Chef's Table. Any thoughts on doing a Norway cruise in late September? I mean, I would. I quite like that kind of time because peak season is basically summer, summer school holidays in the UK. In September, it'll be quieter because everyone will have gone back. The weather in Norway, I'd say it's pretty much the same as the UK. Like yesterday, I went out, it was hot. I felt like I was going to burn. I was sunbathing. 2 hours later, pouring with rain, pouring with rain. And that's the same in Norway, as far as I can tell. It's sort of the same range of weather. Obviously, it gets much colder in winter, but it can also get quite warm in summer. So I would do it. I recommend it for sure. Yes, chef to Emma, we handcrafted this ketchup from the finest sachets in the snack bar. Exactly. If we could have something, and you only put the little thing of like different salts and stuff on the table for you to dip in different types of ketchup, then I'm interested. That would be good. Just like a fish and chips, like proper chips from the chip shop with different types of ketchup. I would be there for sure. That'd be great. Have you ever organized flights to the ship through the cruise line? I have, yeah. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I just have my travel agent put them together, and sometimes I just do it myself, depending on, you know, when do I want to go? Is it a good deal through the cruise line? Do I want to use some points or something like that? So, yeah. Laura has two dogs. Interesting. 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 What is my favorite flavor of cookie? Just a chocolate chip cookie. Don't put raisins in it. That ruins it. Just a chocolate chip cookie and just milk chocolate chip cookie. That is the best cookie that there is. Also, I like like Smarties cookies, M&M cookies, rainbow cookies. That sounds good. But just like a normal cookie with chocolate chips in it. I have some Subway ones at the moment, which are pretty good. Which cruise line has the best cookies? I change. If you Google Emma Cruise's best cookies, I do have a guide, but I do change my mind an awful lot because I think my memory of what the cookies like is quite short. So when I have a good one, I'm like, this is the best one, the best one I've ever had. Yeah, I did get one with raisins in it on Morella by mistake. Sad times. Sad times. Here we go with the ketchup. I love ketchup. It's so great. So good. Yeah, Princess, and Celebrity have the best cookies. Yeah, I think Celebrity are very high up on the cookie front, not just because of the quality of the cookies, but the access to cookies, which is pretty important, I think. Some cruise lines, the cookies are kind of hard to find. What is your preferred Big Four UK supermarket chain to buy cookies from? It is Sainsbury's, and it is the shortbread cookies. They're so good, so good. Adam says, "How is your soda ban going?" I'm not on a soda ban anymore. I needed to just hard reset myself because I was having a lot of soda. So now I'm pretty much having a can a day. And really, all it's done is take away some joy from the other moments where I would have been happy. Like, I miss it very much. But yeah. It is what it is. Yeah, Sainsbury's do incredible cookies. They do. Did you know it was in Sainsbury's that I first saw Hudson? My cat, and not just wandering around, but they have a notice board in there, and I was on my lunch break and there was a poster and it had Hudson on it and it said home wanted, and that was the first time I ever saw Hudson. And then I was going on a cruise very soon, like the next couple of days, and they said they would keep him for me, which was very cute. So hopefully they think that's a good decision. Like, I've raised a lot of awareness for Hudson. He's a cats protection cat, so that's cool. Yes. Yeah, it was so cute. He was really quite a chunky boy. I forget that he was really quite big when we got him. We had to put him on a diet. And now he's not at all. But he still gets plenty of dreamies. He doesn't really do so much anymore. So he's just an old man. But also, well, I suppose he could go out and do stuff if he wants. He has free range cat, but he likes to sleep. Oh, I love chocolate, but every cruise I've been on has only had dark chocolate desserts. Ooh. No. No, no, no. Cruise ship desserts aren't really what I would like for dessert, gotta be honest. I'm not really a fan of I don't know, I mean I like cake, but I don't really like cruise ship cake that much. I don't really like sort of pastries. My ideal dessert is like, yeah, just chocolate, an Easter egg. Like, that's the ideal dessert for me. Half an Easter egg. That would be great. Can Rolo come and say hi? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know where he is in the house. Oh, question says, I'm using Cruise Globe and my 2022 Alaska cruise is not showing. Have you just added it? Because if you've just added it, we take like a day. Within a working day, every cruise should come up now. The only reason it shouldn't show up is if you're the first person to add it and we just need a human being to sort of check it. But if it's been more than a day, should definitely be there. Double, triple check that your dates are right and the ship is right. Because most the emails I get, it's not the right date. Like, ours is just basically filling in the gaps between two dates. So yeah, but if it still doesn't come up, email us hello@thecruisemaps.com and we can have a look. Yeah. Pepsi Maxaholic here, says James. Yes, it's nothing quite like it. Nothing quite like it. Yeah, Rola was the star of the last podcast. Yes. So I have a Patreon podcast. We also have YouTube channel memberships on here. And I do a podcast, like once a month podcast when I come back from a cruise. And Rola was in the entire one last time. It's much easier to sort of contain him for a podcast rather than a live stream. Because if he starts eating Captain Hudson or something, what can I do? Not that he does, but he did pick up First Mate Rolo in his mouth. So yeah. Oh, Sam says, got my Cruise Globe t-shirt. Yay, quality feels nice and not too short. Yes, this is what I would choose to wear on a plane. You know, it feels nice that like I don't like a shirt that's too short on a plane and then like I don't want to touch the seat. So this is nice. As always, Emma Cruises is a discount. Feel the need just to say that again. And you can get these. These are on the Cruise Maps website, but then just click on Cruise Globe. Do you pack light? I see people hauling 2 large suitcases for one person. Yeah, I've done a week-long cruise in a cabin-sized bag before. That's totally fine. You know, I pack more when I have more space, but I would never bring anything bigger than a medium suitcase. Like, that is me treating myself and putting stuff in there that I know I'm just going to bring back home again. But I think it's much easier if you're doing a hot weather cruise, because, you know, a pair of shorts just takes up less space than a pair of trousers. If you're doing something like the Northern Lights one in winter, then you're going to need, you know, fleece-lined waterproof stuff and spikes for your shoes and all these things that you don't normally need. Dadabetic has gifted some memberships. Thank you very much. So 6, I think, people will have access to those podcasts, and there are tons of them. Would you favor more cruise lines to use something similar to the Princess Medallion? Well, I am a person who has a business that sells cruise cards like this, right? Cruise cards with their maps on them. And we have this lovely album. And in here, I have all my cruises next to this. And the Princess Medallions, obviously, I mean, they don't put them in here. You can if you want, but don't. It messes up my collection. So that kind of annoys me, but here is mine. I think when it works, it's very good. When it doesn't work, it's worse than not having it. I think that's what I would say. I do like the ability to locate people on it and locate yourself. Here is the Virgin Voyages one. I broke this after one day. The lady did tell me not to fiddle with it, but I just fiddle with stuff all the time. So this broke after one day, so that's kind of sad. But also on this cruise, because this was just the day visit, so I also have this press card. So I'm just going to put the press card in my album, I think. This doesn't really count as a cruise, though, because we didn't sail. Are we calling it the cruise glove now? Because I've seen that a few times. That will be very confusing. Jamie says globe. Needed to come out with some medallions and a special case for them. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Because where do you end with that? And that's sort of for Princess, right? Princess Medallion is a wearable like this. This is Virgin Voyages wearable, and it's instead of a cruise card. But you know, if you get this instead of a cruise card, then you can always get one of these, and then you have a cruise card as well, right? See? Please focus. Come on. Focus. It's not going to focus. There we go. This is my Carnival Miracle cruise. You can see there. Cute, right? So these are on the Cruise Globe now. And this is the back. People keep asking me for the back. So we designed the back so it would look like a cruise card, which I think is pretty cool. Pretty cool. Oh, Jackie says, just received my 20 cruise cards for all of my post-2015 cruises. It's going to be not very long at all until you can get pre-2015, by the way. Not very, very soon. How should I organize them in my new book? There's 2 ways people seem to organize these. Some people just have these ones just in chronological order, and on all of the sides, I have gone by my cards next to the other ones because I don't want to get rid of these. I like them and I've collected them, but these ones, it's just much easier to have a conversation on this, especially when some of the cruise cards are really quite plain. Like this was from 2018, but like that's the only thing on the cruise card. It's just a picture. Yeah, like this one has my name. It says soda in big font. Yeah. Jamie says, do you think you'll do tie-ups with cruise lines to co-brand your cruise cards with their logos? I don't think we're going to put them on these cards because it's just too small. To get the map on there, to get the flags with the countries, to get the nautical miles, I don't think we're going to have them on here. We have them on these ones, of course. So this is the Cunard one, and we are going to have those on a lot more cruise ships soon, which will be very cool. And my dad says, can you hit the thumbs up button? Yes, if you can, that would be very nice. Just a nice sign for YouTube. It's a weird time at the moment on YouTube because summer is kind of the real downtime for cruising. People are just not interested in it. But as soon as everyone goes back to work and school and I don't know, gets off their school summer holidays, then the interest comes back. So it's kind of a bit of a quiet time at the minute. But it's always like this. Just booked my first ever cruise on the heavy metal music cruise. Any tips for staying upright in a mosh pit at sea? I think maybe it'll be quite... The danger is if you jump, because if you jump, I've done some Zumba classes, and you jump, and then you might come down in a slightly different place, which is weird. But a mosh pit, I would think you're all in there together, right? You help each other, you'll move together. So I think it'll be fine. Famous last words. Yeah, I thought it was summer peak season. Summer is the peak season for going on cruises, not for looking at cruises on the internet. I think it's the complete opposite because everyone's actually doing rather than, when everyone's in November and it's raining and everyone's sad and they're just, everyone just goes on the internet. So, yeah. Can your Emma Cruises brand release a sticker to put on the cruise maps, cruise cards, for example, Team Ketchup? Team Ketchup. Is that what I'm known for now? I will take it. I mean, I'm firmly on that team. Firmly on that team. So you were saying there are good deals now if no one's booking them. No, that's not what I'm saying. I think there's three different things. There is going on a cruise, which peaks in summer and is less in winter. That's going on a cruise. Looking at cruise videos on YouTube is just not summer when people are at home. So from September time onwards, they'll start watching videos. And deals, no one is really looking at cruises now. So cruise lines aren't putting their deals out, I think. Once it gets to September, well, I mean, some have done it already because it is pretty much September, 29th of August when I'm recording this. But now, this week and into September is what some cruise lines call cruise month. And that's when they have more deals. And then they'll do Black Friday and then they'll do wave season, which is January, February, March kind of time. So yes, it's very different. Statement: Team Tomato Sauce and Team Pepsi. I'm on those teams. I'm on those teams for sure. I've not been on Arcadia. I've been on every single other P&O cruises ship. Yes. Yeah, you have a card that says soda. I figure you'd want ketchup. Yeah. I mean, there's none of these cruises that I've ever been on where I have not consumed ketchup. And here is my collection. So crazy. I do love looking at these though, but look at this one. This is the Harviller one. Doesn't have my name on it. Doesn't say anything. It's just plain. So plain. Some of them are nice. Some of them are nicer than others. This one's a piece of paper. This was the ferry that I did. This is just paper. Oh my god, can you hear my stomach rumbling? I'm so hungry. It's okay. Dinner time's in 10 minutes. We can do this. Oh, that was really loud. Still dream of the day Emma gets a Pepsi Max sponsorship. I would love that so much. Look at this one, right? This is... Look, that's it. It's a good job I know which ones these go with, but that's another reason I'm putting them with the card, so I can match them up. Because some of them, like my Morella ones, it doesn't even say the ship. Oh, look at this one. This is probably my favorite one. That is the Global Mercy Hospital ship. So cool. Thunder. Yeah, that's it. Thunder. How often do people ask about the cross-Atlantic cruises when ships are moving between America and Europe? I hear they can be cheap because it's all sea days. Yeah, they are cheap. There's some cruise ships that do it all the time. You know, I took a cruise on with Cunard across the Atlantic, and this is Queen Mary too. She's the ocean liner. She is the traditional way to do it across to New York or New York and back. That's what I did. And then there's loads that are just moving like across the bottom. See, this is, you can't see because it's so far away, but this is my transatlantic I did. And there's loads that move sort of southern Atlantic. And you might stop at the Azores, you might go down to the Caribbean, that kind of thing. And they can be so cheap. They can be like £30 a day. But you do obviously have to fly to like a random place. You might have to fly to Barbados. Sam says, what's for dinner? I will let other people answer what's for dinner. Because you guys know. Yeah, they can be so cheap, so cheap. Oh, I just bought a cruise globe card and I'm pretty excited. That is awesome. I love it. Love, 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 love. Is there Pepsi Min? I don't think so. Just Pepsi Max. Pizza. Yes, pizza for sure. I'm so hungry today. I don't know why. Sometimes I'm just hungrier than other days. Had the same amount of food today. Have you added up the total amount you've spent in your life on cruises? My life. I haven't done my life. I did 2024, and I think it was £6,000, which I know sounds like an insane amount of money. But if you think about it, I run a business, and that is the main thing that goes into the business in order to make money. So I don't think that's that crazy, considering, I have friends who pay more than that, way more than that, for childcare for one child. So my child is just this. But yeah, if you just Google Emma Cruises 2024 cruises, I listed all the cruises that I took, all of the amounts that I paid for them. Sounds like less than I'd expect. Yeah, that's for the cruises that I took. I took, I think, 2 or 3 press trips last year. So obviously that doesn't count. I put in there the value of the cruise if I didn't pay if I was on a press trip. So I'll do the same this year. Lou says, I would hate to add up the cost of my 41 cruise. It's best not to. What good will come from that? There's no point. Do you have pineapple on your pizza? Yes. Pizza from where? Delivery or shop? Just from Tesco's. Just Tesco's. Also received Cruise Globe t-shirts. Fabulous, Ronald. I'm really hoping I bump into someone who wears one on a cruise sometime. That'd be so cool. $6,000, £6,000, which is more in dollars, but still. Exactly. I spend £6,000 commuting to London. I know. I have friends who pay, £700 a month for the train. Yeah. I go to London. The Cruise Maps offices are in London, but I don't go every day. Thank goodness. It's expensive. Yes, my goodness. It is. Oh, it's towards the end of this live stream. So if you have any quick fire questions, please get them in, and I'll do my best to answer as many as I can. A cruise you wish you could do right now. Something warm because it is raining here. It's raining but warm. Something warm would be nice. That's all I ask for. But I'm doing a very warm cruise very soon. So watch this space. Next week's live stream is not going to be at the same time. It might be, but I just can't guarantee that it's going to be because I need to work out when I'm going to be in port, when I'm going to have Wi-Fi, that kind of thing. So I will let you know, but it'll be to be confirmed. I will send out my weekly newsletter today. If you haven't already given me your email address, please do go to emmacruises.com/news, put in your email address, and I send once a week, what is up, what is happening. And that would be cool. That would be very cool. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I can't predict what the internet strength is going to be like. And we've had some interesting live streams. I try and do them when I cruise. Sometimes the captain interrupts. Sometimes we've had people come to the door. We had Tony and Sherry who came in and did a little dance on one of my streams when I was on a ship, which was very cool. Thinking of an MSC cruise from Southampton to Spain and France in October. A bit worried about the Bay of Biscay at that time of year. Any thoughts? I think the Bay of Biscay is massively overhyped. I've had bad weather pretty much everywhere, and I don't think in the Bay of Biscay. I think it's not that bad. If you're only going to France and Spain as well, you're not really going to be, you're not going to be going that far. You probably don't have that many sea days, do you, on that cruise? So yeah, I would do it. I think it's fine. Thank you to my mum for sharing my post about Bay of Biscay. I did ask people if they had bad weather there. Most people said no. So yeah, it's just a case of what is the weather going to be like, and like no one really knows what the weather's going to be like in October. Lou says, I love the one you did from the bathtub. That's probably my favorite live stream too. That was so comfortable. It was so good. It was such a nice cabin. It's probably the nicest cabin I've ever had. Not just for the bath. Probably. I think so. Maybe. I don't know. It was a bit strange because the bed was like in an inside cabin, inside a bigger cabin. So you couldn't sit and look out the window. That was the only thing that I missed in that cabin. But that bathroom was amazing. Would you be a ship mother? Like a godmother of a ship? Sure. Sure thing. Oh, Diabetic says, still can't remember the last time I had a bath. I had a bath yesterday. I'll have a bath every day that I can. Rare to find a bathtub on a cruise, let alone a comfy one. It was a really comfy one. I don't think comfy's a Britishism. I don't know. Not sure. When is the Captain Hudson's next story coming out? So, as in the books, I think I just have some little tweaks to do to the one that's going to come out soon. It's not a story, though. It is sort of like a pick up and read things about cats, the ocean, you know, how they used to have cats on ships and just different things. Sort of just things to make you think is the next one. It's called Thoughtful Sea Days. So if you want to take it on a sea day, you can have a thoughtful sea day. But it'll be soon. And then we should have one other story coming out soon. But yeah, thanks for reminding me, because I need to send an email. What is your opinion on MSC Yacht Club on the Seascape for the first cruise ever in December? My goodness. If you start with Yacht Club, I mean, that's lovely. That's lovely. You might not appreciate it as much as if you started outside Yacht Club and then went up to Yacht Club like I did. I've not been on Seascape, but the yacht clubs are pretty similar. It was nice. I really enjoyed it. I think it's particularly valuable if you're doing a cruise at a busy time of year, and then you can, you know, go back to the yacht club and you have a guaranteed like nice lounge and that kind of stuff. Are your books available on Kindle? Not yet. I need to look at how to do that, I think. It's all just on Amazon. So if you order the books here, they'll be printed in America, Canada, Germany, wherever you are, they'll be printed and then sent to you. So they arrive like the next day, which is very impressive. Do you mainly live in England, or do you have flats in other parts of the world? I live in England, but they have flats all over the world. I think it's a very normal thing, isn't it, to call them apartments or flats? I used to live in a little flat. Now I have a house. She only has one home. Surely people don't think I have more than one home. I have the smallest house. It's so funny because I always see videos on TikTok being like, this American tiny, super small house in Texas, or this is an RV. Like, I found an RV that was bigger than my house. It was crazy. Love how Brits say Amazon. This is one where I can't hear it in the American accent. Amazon. I always hear things like adult in American accent in my head. Other words will come out sometimes in an American accent, and I'm like, no. But Amazon, I can't even get my mouth around how else to say that other than Amazon. Sometimes I see like Americans say like Nike. We just say Nike for like the sports brand, stuff like that. I don't have a Panama Canal cruise book, no, but I would like to, for sure. Oh no, Jack says, sorry I missed most of the live stream. The work is being stacked on my desk and I'm getting to the bottom of the stack. Oh, well done for making progress. That's exactly why we have these live streams at 5 p.m. because I used to work till 5 p.m. and I used to want to change and go on the live stream. So then I couldn't do anymore. Amazon instead of Amazon. Interesting. I've never seen the royal family in person though. Don't think so. Amazon. Nice. Say pasta. Pasta. I like pasta. It's been a long time since I've had any pasta. Brits say Amazon to my ear. Yeah, we do that a lot. We say like just the N. Oh, Peter says, my son thought he saw you on Arvia in the theatre on my med cruise in early August. He was gutted when he realised you were on another cruise. That's so funny. I do wonder if anyone's ever gone up to someone who's not me, thinking it's me. That would be really funny. I mean, I would be, I'm not involved, but be interesting. I don't think that's ever happened. I don't know. How about Adidas? That's how we say it. Adidas. Adidas. Not Adidas. Adidas. You should have some pasta. I'll have some pasta soon. I'll have pasta on the cruise when they're cooking it for me. This is why I wouldn't approach you on a cruise. I think it's not really you. I do get it when one person approaches me and like takes a picture with me, and then other people will as well. I guess they like watching. So, yeah. I think I look the same, and I'm always wearing like the most me things ever. Like I'll be in a Cruise Globe t-shirt, it literally says Cruise Globe on the back in massive font, or I'll be in a stripy dress. Like I'm exactly the same. So, yeah. Aw. Feel like you get bothered a lot. I would much prefer someone to come up and say hi to me than just me think that people are looking at me awkwardly. Like I prefer you to know you, and then I get to talk to people and I get to ask them. I get to find out a lot of things about other people's cruises, which is cool. Yeah. Say taco, taco. That is my final thing to say for the live stream. Yes. Thank you so much, everybody. Really appreciate you being here. Yeah, Cruise Techie say it's a setting you click to add Kindle to your distribution. It wasn't that easy when I looked at it before, but I will have another look. I need to get that sorted. But yes, we say Nike, Nike for the shoes, and taco and pasta and Amazon and whatever else you want. But yes, thanks so much, everybody. I'm gonna go and have dinner. I'm really hungry today. Hope you have a nice dinner, and a good day. And I'll let you know when the live stream is. So yeah, see you all later. Bye.